The moment you arrive at the London Aquarium, the energy of the place instantly pulls you in. Located right on the south bank of the River Thames, in the Grand County Hall building next to the London Eye, it feels like a doorway to another world. From the outside, it's a handsome stone building, full of history and character. But the second you step through those doors, it feels like you've dived beneath the waves into an entirely different universe. The lights are dimmer, the colors change, and the sounds shift from the noise of the city to the soothing rush of water and the soft hum of tanks. The aquarium is more than just a tourist attraction. It's a living collection of creatures from all corners of the planet's oceans, lakes, and rivers. You don't just walk through it. You journey through ecosystems that humans rarely get to see up close. As I walk in, there's a sense of anticipation. Families with kids are buzzing with excitement. Couples are holding hands. People are looking at the maps, deciding which way to go first. But my steps lead straight to the first adventure, the Shark Walk. This is one of those moments where your heart skips a beat. The floor itself becomes glass, and beneath your feet is a tank filled with sharks. You're literally walking on water, with predators gliding silently underneath. The water glows blue and silver, reflecting light onto the sea, and the sharks below seem to know they're being watched. Though they don't care, they move in that effortless way, cutting through the water without a sound, reminding you that they've been on this planet far longer than humans have. One of the most striking sharks here is the sand tiger shark, known scientifically as Carcharias taurus, with a body length that can reach over 3 meters. They're impressive to look at. Their mouth is filled with rows of sharp, jagged teeth that stick out even when their mouths are closed, giving them a permanent sinister grin. It's easy to see why they've been misunderstood for centuries. Yet, despite their frightening appearance, they are generally docile, slow-moving, and rarely dangerous to humans. Watching them swim beneath me, I can't help but think about how evolution crafted these animals over hundreds of millions of years. They are survivors, relics of an ancient ocean, and standing on that glass above them feels like standing on the edge of time. Next to them, the nurse sharks move in an entirely different way. They rest lazily on the sandy bottom, sometimes piled up together like sleepy cats. Unlike the sand tigers, their mouths are located underneath their heads, with small barbels that help them sense prey hidden in the sand. They're not built for speed, but for patience, waiting quietly and sucking up small fish, shrimp, or squid when the moment is right. Nurse sharks can reach 3 meters too, but their slow movements and relaxed behavior make them almost comforting to watch. They read the contrast to the stereotype of a shark as a relentless hunter, showing that even among predators, there are different lifestyles. Gliding more energetically through the tank are the blacktip reef sharks. Sleek, vast, with that sharp fin tipped in black slicing through the water like an arrow. They reef smaller, around 1.5 meters, but their energy makes them seem larger. They live in warm, shallow waters of coral reefs across the Indo-Pacific, darting quickly after schools of fish or crustaceans. Watching them swim in groups is hypnotic. They move perfectly strongly. Evolution is designed for speed. Their constant motion keeps you alert, like a reminder that beneath the calm surface of the ocean, there's always life in motion, always survival in play. Around them, rays glide by, wings flapping like birds underwater. Their movements are slower, more elegant, like dancers on a stage. Sometimes one will brush past the glass, revealing its underside, with that strange, smiling face like mouth and tiny gills. Children press their noses against the glass, laughing when the rays come close. The playfulness of rays against the seriousness of sharks makes this first section of the aquarium unforgettable. The tunnel continues, and as I walk, I am surrounded on all sides above, below, beside by ocean life. The sounds of footsteps fade, replaced by a hum of water and the occasional gasp of visitors who catch sight of a shark swimming directly overhead. Leaving the Shark Walk, I move toward the Coral Kingdom, and it's like stepping from a dramatic thriller into a colorful fantasy. The lighting brightens into a kaleidoscope of colors, and suddenly you're surrounded by the UK's largest living coral reef display. It's an explosion of life and color, a rainbow in constant motion. Here, The scale shrinks from large predators to the small wonders of the reef, each one vibrant and vital. Clownfish dart in and out of the swaying tentacles of sea anemones, their orange and white stripes glowing like tiny lanterns. They are tiny, but their personalities are huge, constantly on the move. They poke their heads out, dash back in, as if playing a game with anyone watching. Their relationship with the anemones is one of nature's most fascinating partnerships. The anemones' stinging tentacles would harm most fish, but clownfish have developed immunity. They live protected, while at the same time helping the anemone by cleaning it and scaring off small predators. It is a perfect example of symbiosis, two very different creatures working together to survive. Next to them, regal blue tangs, those dazzling fish made famous by Finding Dory, swim gracefully in groups. Their bodies are a vibrant blue, with yellow tails flashing as they turn. They glide around coral branches, often moving in harmony, like a school with its own rhythm. Other tangs add more variety, yellow tangs glowing like coins of gold. Surgeonfish with sharp little tail spines, all weaving in and out of the coral. The reef is alive with hundreds of such characters, each one adding to the bustle of this underwater city. Butterfly fish with delicate patterns swim past, their flat bodies gliding like paper cutouts. Angelfish, with their flowing fins and bright colors, seem to almost pose for the camera. And then there are the pufferfish, quirky little oddballs of the reef. They look almost cartoonish with their round eyes and curious faces. You know that if threatened, they can inflate into a spiky ball. But here, safe in the reef, they swim slowly, watching the world with an almost comical calmness. In another corner, seahorses hold tightly to seagrass with their curly tails. They move so slowly, it feels like time has slowed with them. Their horse-like heads and upright swimming posture make them one of the strangest creatures of the sea. What makes them even more fascinating is that it's the males who carry the young. They have a pouch where the female deposits her eggs, and the male nurtures them until tiny seahorses emerge. Watching them float gently is like watching a living fairy tale, a reminder of how varied and magical life under the sea can be. The coral itself is alive too, not just a backdrop. Branching corals reach upward like trees in a forest. Plate corals spread out like shelves. Brain corals curl in mesmerizing patterns. Their colors are intense reds, purples, greens, oranges glowing under the carefully balanced lights of the tank. It is easy to forget that corals are not plants, but colonies of tiny animals called polyps. Together, they build structures that become the foundation for entire ecosystems, home to thousands of species. Maintaining such a reef in an aquarium is incredibly difficult. The balance of light, water chemistry, and nutrients has to be just right. But here it thrives, a piece of the tropics in the middle of London. As I walk along, I notice the mangrove section, where roots stretch down into the water. Mangroves are some of the most important ecosystems on Earth, protecting coastlines from erosion and providing a nursery for young fish and other animals. Their twisted roots create a maze that shelters countless creatures, from shrimp to baby sharks. The aquarium captures this atmosphere perfectly, with the roots rising like fingers out of the sand, small fish darting in and out. It is a reminder that not all beauty is about open water. Sometimes it is in the shadows and hidden corners where life is most vibrant. Standing here, surrounded by colors, movement, and strange forms, I realize how interconnected it all is. Sharks need reefs for prey. Reefs need coral. Coral needs fish to clean them. Fish need shelter. It is a circle, fragile but strong, as long as it remains balanced. And that is the beauty of seeing it all laid out in one place. It is not just entertainment, it is education. It is one. Leaving behind the bright chaos of the coral reef, the path bends into a darker, more mysterious world. The lights dim, and soft glowing tanks appear ahead. Shapes drift slowly in the water, pulsing in and out like living lanterns. This is the realm of the jellyfish, one of the oldest and strangest creatures on Earth. The exhibit is called Ocean Invaders, and it feels like you're stepping into outer space rather than an aquarium. The jellyfish float as if gravity doesn't apply to them. Their delicate tentacles trailing like silk threads. Their translucent bodies glowing with subtle colors. They are at once beautiful and alien. Delicate but also eternal in a way that almost no other creature can claim. The most common here are the moon jellyfish, Aurelia auritus. They are almost invisible, except for their four horseshoe-shaped gonads visible inside their bodies. They pulse gently, rhythmically, moving not by speed, but by drifting with the currents, letting the ocean carry them where it will. Moon jellies are found across the world's oceans, from warm tropical waters to cooler coasts, and they survive in environments that many other creatures could not tolerate. Their bodies are made up of more than 95% water, which makes them fragile, yet in some ways invincible. They've lived on this planet for over 500 million years, surviving mass extinctions, climate shifts, and predators that disappeared long ago. Looking at them, I think about how they've outlasted the dinosaurs, outlasted ancient forests, outlasted almost everything that once ruled the earth. They are time travelers, still drifting while so many others have vanished. In another tank, the Japanese sea nettle floats more dramatically. Their long, flowing tentacles trail behind them like ribbons in the water, sometimes stretching out several meters. Their bells are orange or reddish, patterned with streaks, and they look like fire drifting through water. Unlike moon jellies, they have a more potent sting. In the wild, they can paralyze small fish with their tentacles and consume them whole. Watching them move, you understand why they are called nettles. They look delicate, but they have a hidden danger. The lights in the tank accentuate their movements, glowing orange and gold, making them appear like underwater flames. It's mesmerizing, but also slightly unsettling, as though you were staring at living ghosts. Then there are the upside-down jellyfish, Cassiopeia. These creatures break the rules of how we imagine jellyfish should behave. Instead of floating bell up, they lie on the seabed, upside down, exposing their tentacles to the light. Inside those tentacles live symbiotic algae. Just like corals, the jellyfish provide shelter, and in return, the algae provide food through photosynthesis. It's strange to see a jellyfish acting like a plant, lying there, gently pulsing, waiting for sunlight to power its life. In the aquarium's tanks, they look like underwater flowers blooming on the sand, a garden of living organisms blurring the line between animal and plant. The jellyfish exhibit is divided into different chambers, each with its own lighting, music, and species. One chamber is bathed in blue, another in green, another in pink. The jellies float like dream fragments, hypnotic and surreal. There's no rush in this part of the aquarium. Everyone slows down. You can stand here for minutes, even hours, just watching the same jelly drift by, never tiring of the way it pulses and folds, expands and contracts, endlessly repeating the same movement that has worked for millions of years. They don't have brains. They don't have hearts. Yet they thrive. Their nervous system is just a simple net of cells, enough to sense light, motion, and touch. And somehow, that's enough to keep them alive in the vast oceans of the world. Standing here, I think about how humans often measure intelligence by complexity, but the jellyfish prove that sometimes survival doesn't require complexity. Sometimes simplicity is enough. They don't build nests. They don't hunt in packs. They don't make tools. And yet, they outlast civilizations. There's something humbling about that. They remind us that the ocean is full of strategies for survival that are completely different from ours, yet just as valid, maybe even more enduring. The path then leads away from the drifting world of jellies into a completely different atmosphere. The temperature changes. The air feels warmer, thicker, humid. There are sounds of trickling water, the calls of frogs, the rustle of leaves. You've left the open ocean and entered the rainforest. Here, the tanks are surrounded by green plants, vines, and artificial roots that hang down from above. It feels like you've stepped under a dense canopy in the Amazon or West Africa. The rainforest is a different kind of water world. Instead of the endless blue of the sea, it's a tangle of rivers, swamps, and flooded forests, where creatures hide among roots, leaves, and mud. One of the first creatures to greet you here are the red-bellied piranhas. Their silver bodies shimmer in the dim light, and their red underbellies glow like embers. They swim in schools, moving in uncanny synchronization. The reputation of piranhas has always been larger than life, often exaggerated in films and stories. In truth, they are not mindless killers but cautious fish, feeding mostly on smaller fish, insects, and sometimes scavenging. Yet their teeth are razor-sharp, and when they decide to bite, it happens with shocking speed. The aquarium sometimes schedules feeding demonstrations, and watching a school of piranhas feed is both thrilling and unsettling. The water churns, flashes of silver blur, and in seconds, it's over. The frenzy is so fast that you blink and miss it. Seeing them reminds you of how rivers can be just as dangerous and full of predators as the oceans. Nearby, in a more shadowed tank, lies a West African dwarf crocodile, smaller than the giant saltwater crocodiles of Australia, but no less fierce in spirit. They lurk in the water, only their eyes and nostrils breaking the surface. Watching, waiting. The dwarf crocodile is a master of stillness, conserving energy, ambushing prey when it comes close. In the dim lighting, it almost looks like a statue, until suddenly an eye flicks open, reminding you it's very much alive. Crocodiles are ancient creatures, having survived since the time of dinosaurs. Watching this one, you sense the weight of history in its gaze. It doesn't need to move much. It has perfected the art of patience. On a smaller scale, the rainforest tanks also hold poison dart frogs. They are tiny, barely the size of a thumb, but their colors are dazzling electric blues, fiery oranges, bright greens. These colors are warnings. After the vast calm of the open ocean tanks, the path leads you into a completely different climate. The air feels cooler, the lighting shifts to icy blues and whites, and you start to hear the faint calls of birds. This is Penguin Point, home to the gentoo penguins, some of the most charming residents of the aquarium. As soon as you enter, you can't help but smile. The penguins waddle around on rocky platforms, slide into the water with clumsy grace, and shoot through the pools like torpedoes. They are birds, yet they have given up flight for a life underwater. And in exchange, nature has given them the ability to swim faster than most fish. Their wings transformed into powerful flippers. The gentoo penguins are medium-sized, easily recognizable by the white stripe across the top of their heads and their bright orange beaks. In the wild, they come from the icy shores of the sub-Antarctic islands, where they nest on rocky beaches and feed on krill, squid, and fish. They are incredibly agile swimmers, reaching speeds of up to 35 kilometers per hour underwater. Watching them dive in and rocket across the tank, you can't help but laugh at the contrast between their clumsy movements on land and their perfection in water. On the rocks, they wobble and stumble, sometimes tripping over each other like comedians in tuxedos. But in the water, they are pure elegance. Penguins are also social animals, and you can see that in their behavior here. They chatter, they squabble over pebbles, they groom each other, and they sometimes gather in little groups, as if discussing some secret penguin matter. Pebbles are important to them. Male gentoo penguins often offer pebbles to females as part of courtship, building nests out of them. Even in the aquarium, you can see them carrying pebbles and dropping them in certain spots, a ritual that connects them back to their wild instincts. Standing here, you get a sense of their personalities. Some are curious and come close to the glass to peer at visitors. Others are shy and prefer to hide in the background. Some are playful, chasing each other through the water, while a few just stand still, staring into space as if deep in thought. They are birds with character, and that's why people love them so much. The lighting in this zone is carefully designed to simulate the icy environments penguins need. The cool blue light makes the water look crisp and fresh, and the artificial snow and ice around the enclosure set the scene. Children press their hands against the glass, giggling as penguins dive past them. Cameras click constantly, but the penguins seem unfazed. They go about their lives as though the crowd doesn't exist, which in a way makes it feel more authentic. For a moment, you re-transported far from London, into the frozen edges of the southern oceans. Leaving the penguins, the path brings you back to a smaller, more intimate space, the Rockpool Explorer Zone. After giant turtles and swift penguins, this section feels quiet and hands-on, almost like a pause where you can connect with the smaller details of marine life. The rock pools are shallow, lit from above, and filled with creatures you might find along a coastline if you went exploring at low tide. Sea stars cling to the rocks with tiny tube feet, moving so slowly you almost can't notice unless you stare for a while. Their arms stretch out, searching, their colors ranging from dull browns to bright oranges. Crabs scuttle sideways, hiding under rocks, their claws ready to defend themselves. Sea anemones open and close, their tentacles waving like tiny flowers in the tide. Sea urchins sit like spiny bowls, delicate yet tough, their spines twitching slightly with the movement of the water. What makes this section special is that it invites interaction. Visitors can gently touch some of the animals under supervision, feeling the rough skin of a starfish or the smooth shell of a crab. For children, this is often the most magical part of the aquarium. Touching a living sea creature brings the ocean closer than glass walls ever could. Even for adults, it is a reminder that the ocean is not just something distant or exotic, but also something local, something you can find on rocky coasts just hours from the city. It is a small-scale reminder of the richness of marine life, showing that wonder can be found even in the shallowest pools. From here, the journey shifts into reflection. The aquarium isn't only about showing you animals. It is also about teaching you why they matter and why they need protection. Conservation is at the heart of what this place stands for. And as you walk past the information boards and interactive screens, you are reminded of the challenges our oceans face. Sharks, once feared, are now endangered, their numbers plummeting because of overfishing and the cruel practice of finning. Turtles struggle with plastic pollution, mistaking bags for jellyfish and choking on them. Coral reefs are bleaching due to